I can see her lying back in her satin dress, in a room where you do what you don't confess. Sundown, you better take care if I find you've been creeping round my back stairs. Sundown, you better take care if I find you've been creeping round.
Happy Homebrew Wednesday. So, we'll start this one off with a beer from Mr. Chris Pashtian. This is his 2016 SJ Pour Round 1 beer. It's got black currant, co-fermented Saison, 3726 Brett B. I've never used Brettanomyces. I probably should have by now. I haven't. I'm scared to. I'm worried that the Brett bug will go climbing through my pub and my brewery, and I'll never be able to get it out. I don't know. I don't know why. I'm kind of scared to use funky yeast, but I think I'm gonna bite the bullet because I always like them when I have them. I don't know what it is about Brett beers, but it's kind of, it reminds. I don't know why I like them, because it reminds me of a mustiness and is that what a Brett beer is supposed to taste like? Musty? I usually think they taste kind of. Or just, I don't know if it's a smell or the taste or a combination, but they just remind me of musty, like a horse blanket or something. Maybe that's what it's supposed to be. But I like them, so. But I'm just worried that, can you run it through your kegerator, and is it hard to, do you have to clean the hell out of it to get it out? Is it going to contaminate other kegs? I just don't know how any of that stuff works. So if you've got any advice for, taking the plunge and using Brett, just throw a comment in. I know I've asked before, but I don't know, just kind of worried about it. But anyway, I am happy. I love getting Brett beers, and I know Wally Feck usually does a lot of Brett beers, or he has in the past, and I'm excited about this one. Anyway, so let me crack this. Ooh, very nice hiss on that, Chris. Of course, this thing has been around since 2016, so it's probably over a year old. Still got smoke look at it, still got smoke coming out of it. Can you see it? Yeah, maybe not. All right, let's get a pour here. You see that? I love me some Saisons, and I'll just throw all that stuff in there. I don't think it's supposed to be a clear beer. It certainly is not a clear beer now. So I would imagine this thing's bottle conditioned, because I'd probably bottle condition for the first time if I was using Brett, because I wouldn't want to use any of my, I wouldn't want to run it through my beer gun or a keg or anything like that, but I don't know. Okay, let's get a smell here. Yeah, it has that musty, it has the black currant, has that kind of fruity, but it's got that funky stuff in the background too, which is supposed to be Brett, I guess. Yeah, the appearance, it looks like it's kind of got a little bit of cherry color to it. It has a little bit of, I think it has a lot of carbonation, because I heard a big hiss, but there's not a whole lot of bubbles streaming up, at least not anymore. It did have kind of a head, but it went away. It's got a ring now. So, cheers to you, Chris. It's got a little tartness to it. It kind of reminds me of some of the ones I've had that folks call Berliner Weisses. I've never brewed one of those either, and oh, my son's peeking in. What's up, Logan? Okay, get out of here.
All right.
I've never had, I've never brewed a Berliner Weiss, so I don't think my taste buds can distinguish between a Berliner Weiss and a funky Saison. I mean, I know Saisons pretty well, but a funky Saison with a Brett in it makes it kind of sour, and maybe it's with a black currant, or I don't know. Well, it's co-fermented. Yeah, Saison 3726 and Brett B. I don't know what Brett B is. But anyway, there's a definite sour quality to this, which makes it taste different than a Saison. It tastes like a funky Berliner Weiss or something. But it's very good. I'm starting to get a taste for sour beers, and I almost bought a 12 ounce Rodenbach Grand Cru the other day because I really like those. Did have another beer recently that was super sour, but it was like super good. Anyway, this is a delicious beer, Chris. I love this. It's kind of cool. It's been around for a year too. How far did you go in this thing? I'm just curious. In the comment, I don't remember. Once. I don't want to say once I'm out of it, but trying to remember where everybody placed. I don't think I keep that close of a track. Only to the, once I'm out of it, I kind of watch people every so often do the tastings, and then I pay attention to the top 3 winners. But I think I kind of sort of remember you talking about this one night on a Google Hangout or something. But anyway, all right, moving on to brewing topics. I dumped a 5-gallon batch of Imperial Irish Red. The reason I did is because I used rinse yeast that was about a year old. I guess it was almost a year old. It was about 11 months old. And it just wasn't. I should have made a starter or something. I didn't. I figured with the 2 mason jars with about a half an inch worth in the bottom, if I mix those 2 together and put it in, it would. It never really. I put a blow-off tube on it because it was a pretty high-gravity beer, and I thought it might take off and just kind of explode the place, but it never really took off. I didn't think it was fermenting at first because it never bubbled in the blow-off tube. And then when I took the lid off, or I kind of cracked the lid to peek in there, I could hear, almost like when you pour a Coke, you could hear the fizz, but there just wasn't any bubbles. So fermentation was happening, and there was a slight krausen. It never got a huge krausen. But it dropped from 1084 to like 1027. Didn't get any below that. And, I thought it was a little sweet. But I figured, for some reason I was thinking it was even lower than 1027. But I put it in the refrigerator. I cold crashed it for like a week just because I just didn't have a convenient time to try to keg it. So I tried to keg it, I think it was yesterday. And I was going to keg it, and I pulled it out, and I tasted it, and I was like, I don't even want to keg this because it was just too sweet. I thought I had a slight hint of oxidation in it, and it just, I think if I ever do that again, 1, I'm not going to let the yeast sit around for a year. I'll use it well before that, and 2, I will make a starter because I made a starter for the Christmas ale that I have in the fermenter right now. I made a 2 liter starter that it said you needed. It was going to be a high gravity beer. It was going to be a 1080 plus Christmas ale. Had a whole bunch of stuff in it. I'll show you a little bit of brew footage, but I was going to have cinnamon and nutmeg and ginger root and all kinds of stuff. And I used a White Labs, some kind of Belgian Abbey ale, I think, but it was supposed to be a Belgian strong ale, I think it was. It was supposed to be good for Christmas, Christmas or seasonal beers. So, but when I read the instructions, it said if you're using something over 1065, then it recommended if you're using 1 pure pitch, you needed at least a 2 liter starter. So I made a 2 liter starter, and is that right? 2 liter? Yeah, 2 liter starter, and I had never done that before. And I pitched the 2 liter starter in the bucket, and it freaking took off like a rocket. I mean, within an hour, it was bubbling away in the blow-off tube. So that one's still bubbling. So that one I have no issues with. And I think if I use rinsed yeast again, I'm gonna make sure I do that. Didn't have the problem with the heady topper yeast. That one I kind of rinsed it, but it didn't sit around for a year. It sat around for about 2 or 3 weeks. So anyway, lesson learned. It's okay to rinse yeast. You save a lot of money. Just don't let it sit around for a year. Use it before that, and when you do, make sure you use a starter. So now that I can make starters. So anyway, what else? So I got the holiday beer. I got my beers off to Wally Feck, and he got those things safe and sound. Hope you enjoyed the Dink and Stormy IPA. That's one of my favorite beers, and it's a local beer. They don't make it all the time. It's kind of a infrequent release, so when they do have a release of Dink and Stormy, they had a party. So my wife and I went to the brewery, which is, I don't know, probably about 4 or 5 miles away from our house, and maybe a little further. And we sat around and had a few beers, and I picked up a couple of 6-packs of it. So hope you enjoyed that, Wally. Thank you for being the hub for the yeast experiment. I think my beers ended up a little bitter. At least it's kind of bitter off the tap now. But it was a very high alpha. It was like 14.4 or something like that, 14.5, maybe 15.4. I forget what the alpha acids was. So, man, I'm really rambling on. Anyway, guess I'll go ahead and end it here. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I am breaking. I'm in the belly buster group. We're kind of a weight control group. You know, I'm trying to lose a few extra pounds, and I'm not supposed to be drinking during the week, but I will violate that on Homebrew Wednesday and have a homebrew. So anyway, have yourself a happy homebrew and have a very, very happy Homebrew Wednesday. Oh, and it's good to see you back on the tubes, Rock On. Nice to have you back. Cheers. It's going to be a winter ale called Elfin Around. That's going to be about 9.2, 9.3. It is on. Time for a Christmas ale.